All right. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Jim McKeith. I'll be your host for this year's 2022's Virtual SenchaCon. Welcome to our keynote session, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Kegan, who will be presenting for you today. He is our general manager here at Sencha.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. We're super excited. This is actually our third annual Virtual SenchaCon. Just beginning, we started Virtual SenchaCon just before the pandemic, but we're excited to keep it rolling. And with that in mind, we'll go ahead and kick it off in just a second. We're going to keep our eyes on the clock. We definitely want to keep some time available for Q&A. So if you have any questions, don't forget them. Be sure to write them down in the questions box in the top right. And we'll be sure to address them towards the end of the session. We're going to try and end just 45 minutes past the hour, which will allow a little bit of time in between the next sessions. So with that in mind, here we go. Welcome to Virtual SenchaCon 2022. This is our third annual Virtual SenchaCon that we started just before the pandemic started back in 2020. We'd like to say that was planned and we knew that was going to come, but of course this is a strange world that we all live in now, and we're happy to continue this as well. Before we get started, I'd like to briefly introduce myself as the general manager of Sencha, as well as a few other brands, which I'll get into in just a second. At Idera. Today we brought together thousands of JavaScript developers, and we're so excited for what's in store. First of all, I would like to thank everyone from customers to partners and our general community for joining today. We'll be using the hashtag SenchaCon for trending topics if you want to live tweet or share anything throughout the event. So briefly, before we get into the agenda, a quick about me as the general manager at Sencha. My developer tools career started over a decade ago, and I've had the fortune to lead multiple similar developer communities at Famigo and Corona Labs, which was a leading 2D gaming engine for mobile, similar to Unity 3D. After Corona, I led business development at Pull Request, which focused on bringing Silicon Valley level code review to the masses. To this day, developer experience is at the top of my mind, and I'm passionate about pushing Sencha and XJS to the edge and the forefront of JavaScript development. First, let's take a look at the upcoming talks that we have today. And before that, just a brief rundown of what's going to happen on the keynote today. I'd like to first kind of give an overview of Idera. Then we'll jump into the state of Sencha and kind of the ongoing initiatives that we have there, and a recap of the last year. Then we'll kind of dive into the roadmap, which I'm sure most of you are primarily interested in. We have a couple of extra initiatives, and I'd like to jump through it quick enough to where we can save some time for Q&A. We're fortunate to have so many awesome internal and external speakers today. Customers, MVPs, and other thought leaders make up the bulk of the speaker sessions. Head over to Sencha.com and be sure to register for each session that interests you. To cap off the event, we have a new session, which is something we did last year as well, an Idera Fireside Chat, scheduled to unite all of the Idera developer tools businesses in a single platform. You won't want to miss it. With that in mind, I'd like to share a quick recap on the mothership, as I call it, Idera. Idera is the umbrella organization which is organized into three collections of brands: data tools, developer tools, and DevOps. For more info, you can head over to ideracorp.com, and you can get more info on each of the brands. Idera was originally founded back in 2003. It took the current form with our CEO, Randy Jacobs, who took the helm just 8 years ago. We've done over 20 acquisitions since then, most recently just a few weeks ago with Yellowfin. Idera will continue to be acquisitive in the future as our reach is unparalleled in the developer ecosystems. We're headquartered in Houston with offices all around the world. Personally, I sit in Austin, Texas. We're backed by some of the best-in-class private equity firms, including Partners Group, HGGC, and TA Associates. So with that in mind, let's take a closer look at some of these brands and what's under the hood. As mentioned, we have 3 different business units encompassing 20 different brands here at Idera. The first being data tools. Data Tools is an end-to-end software suite to enable database administrators, architects, and developers to design, develop, manage, and monitor both on-prem and cloud databases. Next, we have Developer Tools. These are a range of market-leading application development tools across multiple coding languages, enabling developers to build and maintain cross-platform applications. Lastly, we have DevOps. DevOps basically are some software tools to assist QA, development, and operations teams in building, testing, and deploying applications as quickly and efficiently as possible. Idera software should be synonymous with quality software. We want to be the de facto solution provider for any organization for mission-critical applications. We will not force integration of JavaScript toolings and frameworks with XJS. However, if it makes sense to improve your product or go to market, each of these brands will benefit from each other. The four that we include as the JavaScript brands are Sencha, of course, Firewalla Editor, FileStack, which we acquired just back in January, and Fusion Charts, the leading charting library. We will continue to be acquisitive in the space and acquire best-in-class products and services. We will continue to grow as the market of JavaScript developers is ever expanding and in higher demand. Our large footprint enables us to have unparalleled reach into every industry in nearly every country around the world. Additionally, XJS remains the core focus here at Sencha. Now on to the main event, State of Sencha 2022. Overall, we had a fantastic year of growth here for Sencha. We have all of you in the community to thank. Applications, users, and overall awareness of the brand is at an all-time high. Many quality releases beginning with the all-new version 7, and we have a lot more in store this year. We have never been more excited about Sencha's outlook as I am today. Despite the global pandemic and other global events, Sencha has seen no signs of slowing down. Large enterprises continue to adopt XJS as their framework of choice as the open source unknowns become a growing concern for various InfoSec teams. Ratings on G2.com allow Sencha to once again become a leader in the space, leading all other proprietary framework solutions. We have over 100 reviews and counting. Please leave a review when you have a moment or read through the stellar reviews. We'd love to hear what you think. One of the key themes for Sencha going into this year is an approach for low code. Low code enables enterprises to create better experiences for their users with a low code approach. Your team will be able to focus on the things that matter, finishing your app and delivering it in record time. We already have Cinch Architect, which generates a high performance code base that is customizable and includes a drag and drop feature. You can develop applications 20 times faster and with less code, so your team can get back to shipping business-critical applications. Products that articulate innovation and drive your business can be produced in no time by Sencha. One of the other key themes that we have at Sencha is a focus on the React community. I'm sure you've seen in the market today that we have GUI, which is a new grid component based on the XJS grid, which is built from React from the ground up. If you know React, you'll have no time spinning it up in your application. Additionally, we have plenty of other solutions that support React, with Firewalla, the market-leading rich text editor, Fusion Charts, which is a beautiful charting library, and FileStack, which is an extremely powerful file upload API. If you know React, or if you have a larger React team, we can bundle all four of these products in one single easy-to-use package so that your React team has everything they need to deliver enterprise-ready applications. The evolution of JavaScript tooling. We've had the benefit of being a long-standing framework choice for many years. Over the years, JavaScript frameworks and ready-to-use components have significantly reduced development complexity. By providing easier code structure and organization, building complex UI code and data-rich applications is now much more manageable and streamlined. Enterprise solutions are gaining popularity and have eased the development process by offering pre-built and tested UI components that work across browsers, platforms, and interoperate well with each other. XJS is our #1 focus, and we're up to the challenge to improve on the already highly performing grid component. If you haven't reviewed our benchmark tool, check it out. I think you'll like the results. As you've heard us say over the years, and you know from experience, the grid is our bread and butter. We hear it countless times in customer calls and in surveys from you. We're doubling down on this component and making it even better. The recently released 7.4 includes multi-level grouping, a grouping panel, summaries for groups and totals, and a filter bar. We'll get into this later in the product roadmap slides. We also recently published a benchmarking tool which validated our grid on being the most performant available in the market. You can check it out today on Sencha.com. Complementing the grid, we have everything you need to build enterprise-grade apps straight out of the box. All of our components are designed by the same team that built the framework, making them all interoperable and performant from the ground up. From the grid to calendars, trees, charts, and more, we are the go-to solution for enterprise-grade components. App security continues to be a key concern for all enterprises. A common theme developing over the last year is that CIOs are demanding security not only from the back end, but from the front end as well. Audits are becoming more and more common, and even more scrutiny is placed on where components come from, who built them, and the vendors that produce them. XJS is a differentiator in that everything is built in-house with fewer dependencies and vulnerabilities, ultimately making it a safer solution for enterprise-grade development. This, of course, is a deviation from the market from open source solutions when often they exude high-risk vulnerabilities and require time-sensitive audits to ensure licensing is up to date. XJS is safer because everything is built in-house. There's a number to call when your app is on the line. We are a true enterprise solution designed for the most data-intensive applications. The XJS OEM license is now rebranded as the XJS Hub license. We want you to stand on Cinch's shoulders and call yourself tall. Examples include Salesforce Lightning, Adobe Cold Fusion, Kofax, FICO. I could go on and on. It's an innovative segue to increase business revenue and extend into new markets. Building from scratch is costly, it takes too long, and ultimately you might receive an inferior outcome. The XJS Hub license is perfect for startups and large enterprise apps alike. Diverse industry vertical exposure allows Sencha to weather any storm and get broad feedback from our products. XJS is ubiquitous across all major industry verticals, ranging from the largest financial organizations to defense contractors and governments. Mission-critical apps require higher level of scrutiny from a scalability and security exposure. XJS is a differentiator in the space. Many case studies exist on our site, and I encourage you to go there and read through them. I'd like to highlight a couple on the next slide. First of all, it's so exciting to see XJS customers spanning from large enterprises and universities to small businesses and how they've used XJS for their internal and mission-critical applications. The iCube use case I particularly found neat as I learned about their innovative Milk Pay product. Check it out. Here are a few white papers we published recently and a brief summary. A unified component library will ultimately allow developers to spend more time building business logic and less time building basic components. These components speed up development cycles, help create readily scalable applications with strong branding, and reduce the number of errors. Sencha XJS, along with other JavaScript tools from Idera, let you build your app with pre-built components, a low-code approach saving you both time and money. Over the past decade, fintech has revolutionized financial transaction management. Using robust front-end components is essential for developing secure and informative apps. Develop modern financial tech applications can save yourself countless hours of research and testing. This guide discusses the essentials of financial charting and dashboards and the important design factors that influence user decisions. Sencha serves as an excellent fintech development framework for building financial applications. It offers flexibility, scalability, and the power to design robust apps cost-effectively. Easy, quick to build and deploy custom financial applications with our low-code approach. Pre-built components, widgets, and workflows that you can customize right out of the box, speeding time to market up by nearly 60%. Enterprise-grade JavaScript components are gaining popularity given some inherent concerns using open-source components for critical applications. Your business will be perceived as modern, professional, and cutting-edge with XJS. Additionally, your company will be more responsive and adaptive to the market needs. XJS provides you with a solution that is overall safer and more performant than some open source components and solutions. This white paper discusses some of the factors and how to overcome them. Our MVP community continues to be extremely valuable to us. MVPs and technology partners are missing an opportunity to promote themselves through case studies, XJS videos that mention their own work, blogs, etc. We're happy to promote you guys to the larger audience, and we would love your feedback and access to earlier releases. If you're interested in becoming an MVP, please don't hesitate to reach out, as this is an ever-growing list of MVPs. Now let's take a look at what to expect from the upcoming year from a release perspective and roadmap. I think it probably makes sense for our Director of Products, Serena DuPont, to take this one. Serena?
Thanks. My name is Serena DuPont, and I lead product management for Idare's developer tools, which includes Sencha. I'm excited today to share with you the upcoming roadmap for Sencha here at SenchaCon. Now, before we get started, let's have a quick look at our safe harbor statement, which means that these plans and roadmap represent our intentions as of this date, but our development plans and priorities are subject to change. Now, we have a really strong commitment to XJS at Sencha, and this includes launching feature-rich quality products with our upcoming releases of 7.6 and 7.7, and we will get into some more details on that in just a couple of minutes. We're really focused on quality and performance improvements, improving mobility and accessibility features is going to be a big focus of ours, and keeping modern and classic on par in terms of the toolkit functionality. Now, we'll also focus on improving our onboarding experience, making it easier for you to get started with, for example, having new developers on your team, making it easier for them to get started with XJS, and by focusing on improving, for example, getting started guides, tutorials, etc., and also making upgrades easier through our Upgrade Advisor tool. Now, let's have a look at the key 2022 Sencha roadmap themes. XJS continues to be king for Sencha. We're also going to focus on continued innovation, and we'll get into some more details on that in just a couple of minutes. And we will have a very strong focus on quality. Now, let's have a look at the Sencha roadmap at a high level before we get into some more details in the next couple of slides. So currently we're working on XJS features, which include support for vertical option for modern slider field. This was something that was heavily requested by our customers. Also introducing list filtering for the modern grid. And we're also working on making co-worky and NPM-based app and addressing top requests from our customers in both the modern and classic toolkit. And in addition to that, we're also working on a very exciting new project, which is a VS Code extension for Sencha Architect. And I'm going to show you a demo on that, an actual beta preview, or very early preview, I should say, in just a couple of minutes. Then next, we plan quality improvements in Architect, Themer, and Upgrade Advisor. We've also had some requests from our customers on Sencha test enhancements and a web-tested quality update. Again, we're going to continue to focus on ease of use. This is a kind of a recurring theme throughout our roadmap, making it easier for new developers to get started with XJS. We're also going to address top customer requests in GXT, and we're going to continue to work on our Visual Studio Code extension. And then later on, we plan to continue to address top customer requests in both of our toolkits and XJS, continue with this ease of use theme that I mentioned. And then we are planning later on, we're planning a public release of our Visual Studio Code extension for Sencha Architect, and we're also planning a VS Code extension for Sencha Themer that's tied to that, and then also Sencha Grid for React updates, a GUI product that you may or may not be familiar with yet. And that is something that's available today on sencha.com. Now let's have a quick look at recent releases before we're looking ahead. We released in May of last year, we released 7.4, which included 4 new rich grid features, along with numerous other enhancements that our customers had requested. We followed that up in December with a 7.5 release that was really focused on addressing top customer requests in both of our toolkits and improvements to the grid and form, open tooling, and more. Now, again, a feature-focused release was 7.4 was a feature-focused release. We've been focusing on alternating between quality and feature-focused releases. So 7.4 was a very strong feature-focused release with 4 new grid features. And then we followed that up with 7.5, which was a quality enhancements release, where we updated, for example, Ferala to version 405. We updated the Font Awesome version. We also made some enhancements to our XGen and XWebpack plugins and provided localization support to the great new grid features that we introduced in 7.4. Now, what is planned? Now, in 7.6 is going to be a feature-focused release. It's currently in full swing, and it will include new features for the grid, modern slider field, and numerous other quality enhancements. And 7.7 is going to be a quality-focused release. Now, we've also gotten some requests for enhancements in our Sencha tooling. We plan to provide better support for modern JavaScript versions and the latest Java version, support for macOS Monterey, CLI and documentation with Sencha Command. We're also looking at improvements for NPM and open tooling, and these are all areas where we're continuing to review requests from our customers and have plans over the next 12 months to make a number of enhancements to them. Now, we also have some really exciting plans for Sencha Architect in 2022. Now, if you've never used Sencha Architect before, it's a visual application builder for developing cross-platform HTML5 apps for mobile and desktop devices. And Sencha Architect in its current form is here to stay. We plan to continue to provide updates to Architect with every XJS release like we have done in the past. But in addition to that, we are also working on a really exciting VS Code GUI extension for Sencha Architect. And this GUI extension is going to make it really easy for you to develop an XJS application using VS Code. And you'll be able to generate a dynamic view of any selected component file. It will have support for drag and drop of components, editing of configs, the ability to create a view with a context menu in any folder. And it will also be no metadata boundary. And this is really an important point to make because you'll be able to edit the project in any IDE of your choosing. And we'll also have a download SDK mechanism as part of this. And we're currently working on this, and as we get closer to a beta, we'll be making some announcements on our blog, so I'd encourage you to continue to follow, and we'll be inviting our customers to participate in the beta for the VS Code extension once we get closer to that. And with that, I'm going to show you a quick demo of the VS Code extension that we've been working on, a quick preview. So you can see that generating a new XJS project is really effortless. You're able to select from a number of options. We can even generate a new view folder, which includes a view, view controller, and view model files. And then double-clicking on any view.js file allows you to start developing the desired user interface, as you can see here. You can select any view to display the interactive preview where we can drag and drop components. You can see here we drag and dropped a column, and we're able to change that to address, the column header to address. And you can change the column in the grid, you can change the name of the grid, and the name of the column from the configs listed on the bottom left is then also reflected in the code view, and you'll see that here in just a second. And this was a quick preview of the Visual Studio Code extension that we've been working on. And as I mentioned before, we'll be inviting our customers to participate in the beta as we get closer to it. Now, we're also planning an update to Sencha's GXT product. GXT is our comprehensive Java framework for building web applications using the GWT compiler, and we're planning a 4.2 quality enhancements release. Now, when it comes to Sencha's testing tools, we're also working on an enhancements. We also plan to work on enhancements release for Sencha Test with a 2.5 release. And if you're not familiar with Sencha Test remains the most comprehensive unit and end-to-end testing solution for XJS applications. Now, as part of Sencha's testing tools portfolio, we have another product called Web Tested, which is a free-to-use lightweight IDE and toolset that's really optimized for creating, building, and executing and debugging UI tests for websites and web applications. And we're planning an update release for Web Tested as part of our roadmap as well. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic to Eric. Eric?
Thank you, Serena. That was a very interesting and insightful overview of our product roadmap and all of the ways that we are continuing to invest in our products and invest in the success of our clients. moving along here, wanted to take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Eric Romoff. I have a little bit better than a decade's worth of experience here in the technology space. And at Sencha, I am the chief of staff, which largely means that I am participating in and aiding in our go-to-market functions. And today, I want to talk to you about some additional initiatives that we have recently rolled out here at Sencha. The first initiative that I want to talk about is our Upgrade Advisor. This is an incredibly powerful tool. It allows you to evaluate, identify, and properly estimate not only the time, but the level of effort that would be involved in upgrading to the latest version of XJS. And it allows you to pinpoint the changes, the areas of impact that would be the result of an upgrade, and spend less time, less money on those upgrades by really focusing on the areas that are impacted by the migration to the latest version of XJS. Another new development here at Sencha is that we have recently rolled out our XJS Unlimited license. This is allowing you to have XJS available to your entire organization for unlimited developers. It's an extremely valuable and easy to maintain set of license across your organization. So if you're interested in that, by all means, please do reach out to your account manager today, and they would be happy to share more information about this latest license available for XJS. And our last area of investment is actually our newest product, our native React grid. We lovingly refer to it as GRUI. And we recognize that many of our Sencha customers have other products or projects built on React. Many of them have React development teams in-house, and many of those React development teams wish that they could use their Sencha grid on those React projects, and now they can. Sencha grid brings the power and robust feature set of that grid to the easy-to-use React framework, and it is now available. If you're wanting to learn more about GRUI, we actually have a session later today hosted by Jason Klein that will go further into those details. Or if you want to dive right in, you could simply follow the NPM instructions at the bottom of this slide. So those are the additional initiatives that I wanted to walk through. I also wanted to thank you for being Sencha customers, for taking some time out of your day to participate in SenchaCon. I hope you walk away feeling as excited about not only the year to come, but the bright future that Sencha has in front of it. And with that, I will toss back to Kegan for some Q&A.
Against all odds, we did save a few minutes for Q.
Okay, well, thanks for that. I'm glad we got through it pretty quickly. Why don't we jump into Q&A, and I will pass it off to some of the other presenters on this call. I'll be happy to address some questions as well, but we have Jim McKeith, we have Vajra from our product team, and we also have Wimerson from our MVP team. So let me switch over to video and pass it off to Jim for the first question.
All right. Well, I'll be moderating the questions. So if you have any questions, put them in the question panel, and I will pass them on to the speakers here. Question here: what's the difference between Cinch Architect and the Visual Studio Code extension? Are they both available on the market, or what are the different? How are they different?
I would like to take this question, Kegan. So this is Vajra, product manager, and yeah, this is a great question. So definitely, when you compare Censure Architect and VS Code extension, they both target different persona. Like VS Code extension is for Censure Architect will be on mainly focusing on low code editor, what we call it as for beginners and kind of intermediate guys. So this will give a initial start to kickstart developing the app and then hook up all the components and start putting down your business logic to it. Whereas Sencha Architect is an advanced and long-time product of ours where non-developers used to take this and drag and drop components and use it and just ship it as it is. And they don't need to build on or like depend on any other IDs other than Sencha Architect. If that answers.
That makes sense to me.
Thank you.
are there any differences, or are there any enterprise-wide licensing, flexible licensing options available if someone wanted to license it for an entire company? Oh, Kegan, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, that's a great question, Jim. Thanks for bringing it up. And frankly, we do get that question asked a lot. When you think about an organization that has hundreds, if not thousands, of developers that are siloed into different teams, it's hard to get visibility on what licenses each company or each business unit owns, or who pays for it, or how many seats are available. So for that, we've come up with this unlimited licensing plan that's available. That can be spread wide across an organization. We've found that not only from a development standpoint, it kind of eases a little bit of strain on getting those licenses, but also from like the compliance perspective, making sure that everyone is up to date. You can kind of and on maintenance, you can kind of put that in the back of your mind and not think about it again, because everyone at your organization is covered for all the products. For a certain amount of time that was agreed upon. So it's really great. It's super flexible. Anyone that's interested in that, from small organizations to large, we can pretty much make it work. So feel free to reach out to either your account manager, myself, or generally just at sales@sencha.com or through the contact form. And we can definitely kind of get that set up for you. So thanks.
Fantastic. So next question here, how easy is it for developers, organizations to migrate large scale applications from other frameworks or libraries? So if they have something that they've used in some of their legacy framework that they're like, hey, I want to take advantage of some of this great new features. How hard is that to migrate? What does that look like?
All right, I'd like to take this question. Again, this is Vajra here. So since HCS has around 140 plus pre-tested or reusable components, it's really very easy for someone coming down to XJS Word. So they can just lay out these pre-tested components as per the different layouts available in our library, and then what they can do is like start using our all features of XJS, like we have routing, and the best part or the strength of XJS is it's cross-browser compatible by default. So the same look and feel will be available across all the other browsers. So I guess it's easy path.
All right, great. How does XJS simplify auditing of JavaScript dependencies for the purpose of security audits?
Yep, I'll take that one. It's a great question, and it's a theme that we've seen not only over the last 2 years, but probably increasingly more and more over the last, call it, trailing 12 months or so. In general, right, when you think about an open source component and how we differ from that, there could be any number of hands that touch it, any number of legal that wasn't signed in order to, to do that. Whereas XJS is, we know exactly who did what. They're all on the payroll. They're all, signed the necessary legal in order to work with XJS and to work on the products or touch the IP. So just, from a conceptual standpoint, we kind of take care of that, in pretty broad strokes. But, we're happy to kind of do a deep dive with that. We've jumped on with various CIOs and kind of explained our audit and shown how that was done. And even, kind of compared that against other leading components that they were maybe looking at. So if you're interested in that, or if that's a sticking point for your organization, we're happy to chat. Just reach out and we'll get it set up.
GUI looks really cool. What's the licensing model look like? And can I take advantage of it today under my current application that's under development?
I can take this question.
You want to go? Sure. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Vajra. I'll jump in if there's anything I need to add.
Great. Yep. So currently Crew is licensed under, anybody can try it. We have trial license also. In parallel, we have like $499 per developer license. Along with that, we are giving 1 year support and maintenance for that. We'll be releasing multiple versions also in this year as we are starting. And the good thing of GUI is like you can just hook it into your existing React app and start using all the advanced enterprise grade features which are available in Grid. So it's a great hit.
Okay. if someone wants to speak at SenchaCon next year, what should they do? I guess that really comes down to how do they become an MVP? Wilmerson.
Sorry, ask again about this next year at SenchaCon, please.
So if somebody wants to be involved in SenchaCon next year, as a speaker, and I guess become an MVP, what's involved in doing that? Are we still accepting MVPs, or how does someone become an MVP?
Yes, sure. So to become MVP, you just need to fill our form. We have one blog post, and also in our webpage you have one form that you can fill, and also apply for MVP. We are going to review your profile, and next year you of course you are going to be invited to be one MVP. The MVP program choose the best of the best Sencha community members to be trusted access for our customers and prospects. And MVP is passionate about Sencha products and also success of everyone who use the framework and related products. And MVP also evangelize, shares for, promotes, educates, and others do some course, something like that. Sencha products by writing and speaking on elegance, simplifying and productivity of our product and user groups. So if you would like to be one MVP, you are more than welcome to speak on the next SenchaCon next year and other kind of webinars we frequently do around the world. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Wilmerson. One of the great things about being an MVP is, I think, being in part of the MVP program is opportunity. MVPs also get to associate with each other. It's a great opportunity to associate with like-minded peers, as it were.
Yeah.
What about the Visual Studio Code plugin? Apparently, the new version of Visual Studio Code that just came out, it's no longer working. Is there plans to, how often will that be updated so people can get that working again?
Yeah, Vajra this side. So yes, we noticed that we have some latest release of VS Code is broken, but our engineering team has already found the root cause. So it must be out in the next release.
Okay. And the Jet Brains Ide Plug-In, is there plans to update that one as well?
Yes, absolutely. We will be maintaining in the coming quarter. Our target is to maintain and bring back all the existing plugins back to support the latest version.
Great. Sencha Architect. Oh, I lost it. When do you plan to update a release for Sencha Architect?
So right now, what we are finding is like as the time flies, we are growing and we are coming up with latest SDKs and newer versions. So the Sencha Architect is becoming really heavy. So we have different plans to make it lightweight and support multiple versions. So we are working on it day and nights. Currently, with the latest version of 7.6, we have planned to release for at least support latest version and make sure all the back support is handled. So yes, we are on track and we are working on that.
Okay. What about a free version of XJS?
Yep, I'll take it. We get it all the time, and we actually do have a free version, which is supported under our GPL license. We call it Community Edition. You can download it from Sencha or NPM, but it is completely free to use, under the GPL license. So I think that someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's under 10,000 in revenue for the year, and that'll basically allow you to use that license. But definitely, it's completely free. And it has, kind of the full functionality of the, Pro or Enterprise or Unlimited edition of XJS. There's actually another question that just came across that I'll bring up. Why should a team go with Sencha over creating their web applications with a competitor?
That was the next one I was going to ask you. Perfect.
Yeah, figured I would grab it because it just came across my screen. Yeah, it's an excellent question. I think there's a number of reasons. I mentioned it a couple times during my talk or during my slides that security is oddly one of the most prominent reasons. There's a lot of like financial organizations, insurance organizations, or any highly regulated industry, which makes it quite difficult and an increasingly amount more difficult to not only get the different FOSS licensing agreements in place for in order to build with them. obviously to kind of keep the dependency checks run over and over again and make sure that everyone has and is using the correct license. In a lot of different ways, Sencha simplifies that. This is a proprietary framework. This is a company that supports every single component, stands by the software, has a number to call in terms of support. If the app goes down for whatever reason, I think you would have a hard time finding someone, as a maintainer from React or Angular or whoever to help support you. Whereas you can get a direct line to Sencha, to the architects, and get real advice on how to get it back, or best practices in general. I think that's a true differentiator. When it comes to us versus open source, which is who we see as the competitor. I think we are the leading framework when it comes to proprietary frameworks, or kind of like paid or supported frameworks. So I think really for a lot of customers, the decision comes down to open source and the risk that exists there, and the lack of support and the lack of pre-built components and so forth, versus everything that Sencha offers, which is security, support, performance, in terms of the actual components that we built and stand by, as well as all of the pre-built components that kind of come out of the box. So I think there's a number of reasons. I think if you're unsure, I definitely recommend reaching out. I definitely recommend downloading a trial or playing with the kitchen sink, which is our kind of all-inclusive demo on Sencha.com, and you can kind of play with it yourself. You can kind of play with all the different components, which are like 150 or so and growing. See the visual output of that, and then also the code output, so you can kind of really get kind of a clear sense of what's under the hood.
Yeah, I have to say I really appreciate that Sencha has the kitchen sink demo on the site, because there's so many web frameworks I've looked at before, and they're like, "Oh, download it if you want to see it." I'm like, "Isn't it a web framework? Shouldn't it be on your website?" But anyway, here's a question: what would you recommend for new desktop business financial application, data-intensive user interface, classic or modern? We've tried both for proof of concept. Classic looks more feature-rich with solid API, whereas modern feels like a better choice for mobile UI with touch. Notice some inconsistencies in modern API. Classic seems like a better choice, but we're afraid it won't be supported in the long run. So a couple of questions in there.
I would take this question. So yeah, I would suggest, like, if it is as the question reads, it's desktop with financial application with pointing or targeting the audience of desktop, I would suggest classic. And yes, we are still maintaining the classic and modern in a long run, and we are going to enhance the features. Yes, modern is new with look and feel, with the latest trends and all. But when it goes to finance, it would be data rich and all, and relying on classic and utilizing all the rich features there would be most beneficial. So I would recommend classic, and yes, classic stays for a long run.
Okay, that's always good to know. Another plugin question here: is there a plugin for Eclipse? And what is the most popular IDE for Sencha XJS development? VS Code, IntelliJ, etc.
What I have seen recently is like VS Code is the most used IDE, although Eclipse, there are users who I guess come from Java background use that. But yes, as of now, lately I have been through webinars, and most of the talks, people are around VS Code. So yes, VS Code is the stable one, I would say, or most popular one.
And Jim, we're kind of pushing up close to time, so maybe we take one or two more questions, and then I'll have just 2 or 3 more slides to run through.
Okay. Will we be able to open and edit a non-architect application with the new architect?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the target we are going at. It would be metadata free, and they can open any application in any IDE. Even you can consider Notepad. You can open it, edit it, drag and drop, and then go back and make modifications in any IDE. It still works. It's metadata free, and you can use it. But right now, our target is 7.0 version plus. We are not really giving that much attention to support older versions, but we might in the long run.
And are there, as if someone wants to get involved in the community, is there a Slack community out there, or what would be the best way for people to get involved in the Sencha developer community?
We have a Discord channel. Emerson, you want to take that?
You're muted, Emerson.
We have one Discord channel, one Discord share server that we have launched months ago, and we can share the link. Then you can join our Discord server. In this Discord server, you are going to find all our MVPs, so you can talk each other, find our heroes, and also post some questions. We have some channels to ask some question about framework, all the products. So today for instant chat, the best option will be our Discord server. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. I think we
definitely reach out and join that Discord server. We're kind of excited to be offering that, and it's been kind of a growing list of MVPs, but then just generally community, as you know, which is a kind of great in conjunction with everything we're doing with Stack Overflow. So yeah, we want to keep this on track, of course. So thanks everyone for joining. A quick recap on what's to come later today. Thorsten has a great chat coming up here just at the top of the hour. And at the top of the hour throughout the day, there'll be another talk. So definitely, kind of go to Sencha.com and register for all the talks that you're interested in, so you get a reminder on them. All of the recordings will be available after the event as well. And if any questions were not addressed or any questions kind of came up after the fact, feel free to shoot us an email and we'll track down that answer for you. So with that in mind, definitely if you're going to be posting today, we're trying to utilize the hashtag SenchaCon 2022. Sorry, SenchaCon 22. Feel free to post that. Obviously, share any talks that you enjoy or don't enjoy. We're happy to have some feedback, and we're excited to kick off the day. And kind of we'll see you next year for the keynote at least, but obviously a full day of events ahead. So thanks again and have fun today.